Well, hello everybody. Roger here from tarot-do.com. And today I'm going to be reviewing a deck called the Tabula Mundi Colores Arcus. It was a deck that was crowdsourced on Kickstarter beginning in last July, and the deck's recently shipped. Now, I'm not one to go around using words like squee, but I must admit that I did let out a little yelp of delight when I went to my mailbox and saw a package from Meleen, the creator of the deck, and I knew exactly what it was. Now, the Tabula Mundi is not a new deck for me. Actually, it was a little over a year ago she kickstarted another deck called the Tabula Mundi, but this was the black and white edition. It was called the Nox y Lux, and actually here's the black and white edition of the deck, which I really enjoyed using. See, same deck, just black and white. So when the color deck was announced, I was kind of nervous, wondering whether I would be disappointed, because I love the black and white one so much, but I definitely was not disappointed. In fact, I love this deck. So now that the project was successfully funded from Kickstarter, Ms. Meleen does have the deck available from her website. So you can go over to www.tabulamundi.com to learn more about the deck, to see card images. And if you wanted to purchase it, you can purchase it from www.thetarotcart.com. So the deck, Tabula Mundi. Now, Tabula Mundi is based on the Thoth deck by Aleister Crowley. Now, I wouldn't say that it's a Thoth clone, but rather a Thoth-inspired deck. Really, though, it's something entirely new. It's a new creation. Though Ms. Meleen uses a traditional Golden Dawn framework, she embodies it into something wholly new and innovative. She's really created a whole new type of deck here. Now, in this deck, she incorporates symbolism from mythology, Kabbalah, Telema, which is Aleister Crowley's spiritual tradition, astrology, mythology, and religion, making this deck truly an esoteric treasure. Now, it's not only the deck that's exquisite, but she's also written an amazing companion book to go with it, called the Book M, Liber Mundi. Now, the book is sold separately from the deck, and it's available on her site. But in my opinion, it is definitely worth the price. I think it's about $23. But at the time of this recording, she does have damaged copies, like I think damaged cover or printing issues with the cover. So you can actually pick up the book for $13 if you don't mind a couple of imperfections. But the regular book runs for $26. And in the book, she lists all the cards' correspondences, and then goes into depth about each card's symbolism. And she also provides a black and white image of each card as well. Let's look at the High Priestess, for example. So in here, we see the Priestess of the Silver Star. So we have the official Lord title, Planet Her Trump of the Moon. She lists the Hebrew letter, in this case Gimel, Tree of Life path, and the color scales. And then she goes into the detail on each card, explaining the reasoning behind the card's design. As I mentioned, she provides the formal titles of the Lord of each of the 78 cards. And, this is really a good way to learn the meanings of the cards, by learning the Lord titles, like the Lord of Defeat. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I just went right to the Lord of Defeat. The Lord of Success, the Lord of Science, Lord of Earned Success, Lord of Fertility. And learning the Lord titles kind of gives you an idea of the card's meanings, and that's a good way to get your feet wet. The book also contains other goodies like a list of cards for each sign of the zodiac, a tree of life diagram along with planetary correspondences, her signature riddle of the Sphinx spread, which is a fun spread to try, a nice discussion on the astrological decans, and an explanation of the back of the cards and how the design is actually a glyph of the concept that Keter is in Malkut. And I don't know if you can really see this, but see the hieroglyphs of the hologram shiny colors when you just move the deck? This is very cool. I don't know. Hopefully this will come out in the video. Now the deck also does come with a basic little white book. That provides correspondences and then basic meanings of each of the cards. So the deck is shipped in a beautiful box, beautiful hard red box with a ribbon, and then along with the signature card. Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful signature card? Now my box was red, and if you get the black and white version, that comes in a black box. And actually, I believe she has both decks available on her website, too. I know I may have already mentioned that. So the card titles. Now, the card titles that she uses for the Tabula Mundi are the same as Crowley uses in the Thoth deck. So if you're coming from the Waite-Smith tradition, justice becomes adjustment, strength has been renamed to lust. Judgment is called Aeon, or the Aeon, and world becomes the universe. And also temperance becomes art. Now, what's interesting to note is that Ms. Meleen does not number the major cards, which kind of solves that strength-justice issue. In older decks, like Marseille decks and Continental decks, the strength card was numbered 11 and justice was numbered 8. Well, the Golden Dawn switched them around so that they would follow a nice, clean astrological sequence. But when Crowley created the Thoth deck, he switched them back to the original. Strength 11 and justice 8. So given that the majors are unnumbered in this deck, you can really place adjustment and the lust card in whatever sequence that resonates with you and makes sense with you. So the majors, each of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet are mapped to the 22 majors, and the corresponding letter is written on the lower left of each card. Now notice that it's important to know that the system that Ms. Meleen uses for this is the Hermetic Western tradition. The Fool is Aleph, the Magus, or the Magician, is Bet, the Priestess is Gimel, and so on. So if you're coming from a Marseille tradition or using an older continental deck, then the system that you're familiar with might be a little bit different than this. It'll take a little getting used to. This is the Golden Dawn Hebrew letter attribution that's used in the Thoth deck and the Waite-Smith deck. Also on the majors, in the lower right of each card, is the astrological attribution. So this might be the sun sign or a planet. And also, 4 cards are mapped out to one of the elements. So the Fool is mapped out to air, the Hanged Man to water, the Aeon is mapped to fire, the element of fire, and the Earth is mapped both to Saturn and to the element of Earth. Now, in this deck, for the court cards, this deck uses the Crowley Thoth system for the courts. So if you're coming from the Waite-Smith tradition, you might be used to the King, Queen, Knight, and Page sequence. Well, in this deck, it's a little bit different, like the Thoth. Knight, we have Knight, Queen, Prince, and Princess. So the Knight is the equivalent of the Waitsmith king. Queen remains the queen. The prince is the equivalent of the Waitsmith knight. And then the princess is the equivalent of the page. Aren't these beautiful cards, by the way? God, I love the Queen of Wands too. Beautiful cards. Yes, so keep that in mind when working with the court cards. I know it has a tendency to throw people off a little bit. So let's get into the cards. I'm probably not going to go through the entire deck, just to, maybe go through the majors and show you a few of the minors, just so you get an idea. So, the Fool. So here we have the Fool about to step into the wormhole. And you know what? I wanted to read you the part from the book about the Fool, just the very beginning lines. I just love the way she starts that out. So it is. And then the nothing was naught, and naught remains. It is neither day nor night, but some point in time between, a moment pregnant with possibility. This is the void before the beginning, or the re-beginning. This is the nascent state of pre-existence. And then she goes on. So I just love the starting lines. So that is the Fool. It's about to step through the wormhole, pregnant with possibility. And the thing about wormholes is nobody knows what waits on the other side. And of course, that's the most fun of all. So we have Sobek, the crocodile god here of strength and power, just like we see in the actually the Thoth Fool. And we have the tiger. Except instead of biting the Fool's leg, he's about to jump him from behind. So, very cool Fool card. I really like this card a lot. So that's the whole theme of the deck, as the Fool steps through the wormhole, and then we see where it leads him. So, here we have the Magus, and we have the Hebrew sign, Bet, and the astrological symbol, Mercury. Priestess, Gimel, and the Moon. Isn't that a beautiful card? Oh, and one thing about the Hebrew letters, if you kind of forget what it means, very often Miss Meleen provides clues in the cards so you can figure out the Hebrew ever. So here we have Dalet, which means door, and if you look, we have the door to the Empress's heart. Same with Emperor. Now the Crowley uses the Zadi attribution for the Emperor, which means fish hook. And then here we see hanging from the ruler, a fish hook. So very cool. The Hierophant, vow, nail. And the nail on which are hanging the two keys. He's kind of a cool Hierophant, isn't he? Very cool Hierophant. Then the Lovers. Again, Zayin, sword, and then astrological symbol, Gemini. So this is also a good way to learn the astrological symbols of the cards, because they're listed on each of the card. So after a while, you begin to associate. When you think of that card's image, you also see that astrological symbol. So that's a really good way to learn your astrology, if that's something you're interested in, and as well as of course the Hebrew letters. So Chariot, this is my birth card, Cancer. And then the Hebrew letter Het, which means fence. And here's the fence of water. I like the hippocampus, too. I think that's what they're called. Part horse, part dolphin, I believe. It's kind of fun. Child of the Power of the Waters. That's the official Lord title of this card. Adjustment's fun, too. This was the traditional Justice card. Oh, got two there. Hermit. Fortune. Again, we got Kopf, which means, for the Hebrew letter, which means back of hand or fist. And then we have the hand, the pen. And here's the Lust card, which was originally named the Strength card in the Waite-Smith tradition. And Crowley and Ms. Meleen, Crowley and Ms. Meleen, we named it Lust. Leo. The Hanged Man is a fun card. The idea here is, Odin sacrificing. When he had 9 days, I believe it was, on the tree, and he sacrificed his eye in order to attain wisdom. And if you look, the eye in the Hanged Man is blackened out, and the eye in the serpent is blackened out as well. So that really gives you the idea of sacrifice. I also think the serpent is very cool, coming out of the well, because she explains in the book the serpent, it's a serpent wearing the mask of a man wearing the mask of a serpent. How fun. And there's so much going on in all these cards, so much symbolism to sit down and study and go through. Death card is fun. And we have all the elements of Scorpio in the death card, the eagle, the scorpion. Nun, we have the fish, Hebrew letter Nun. Oh, this is the Art card, which was originally Temperance in the Waite-Smith tradition. But again, Crowley and Ms. Meleen renamed it Art. And she stayed with the Crowley's tradition. The Sagittarius. And Samik, the Devil. So here we have Capricorn. And Ayin, which is eye. And you can really see the big eye. See, so again, the depiction of the Hebrew letters incorporated into the card, really a great way to memorize the meanings. The Tower. And here we have Pe, which is mouth, and here that's represented by the boar, the mouth of the boar who spit in fire. It's an intense-looking tower card. A lot going on here. Oh, I love the star card. Nuit, the embodiment of Nuit, daughter of the firmament. Moon card is fun, too. Very mysterious. A lot of symbolism here going on here. Moonlight moth. And then we have here, Hebrew letter, Kop, which means back of the head. Sun, the An, which is in the Waite-Smith tradition, that would be the Judgment card. And here's An, the new dawn of Horus. And the Universe. Let me move on to the Aces. The small cards, so the Ace of Wands. So the Aces are always the root of their element. So here we have the root of the powers of fire. So now the minors are mapped to the 36 deacons of the zodiac and their planetary rulers. So on the bottom left would be the sun sign, and then on the bottom right would be the planet that rules that sign at that moment. So here we have Aries, ruled by Mars. Here we would have Aries, ruled by the Sun. So that's very cool. And again, another great way of learning your astrological correspondences. They're right on the card. And after a while, you begin to, like I said, you begin to associate those symbols with that card image. And if you're learning the Thoth Tarot too, this deck can actually help you learn the Thoth. Because with the imagery incorporated, Hebrew letters incorporated right into the imagery, and then the symbols on the card, and also the Lord word completion. Sometimes card titles bother me. They don't. I really don't even notice them in this deck, so they don't bother me at all. But like even in my Thoth deck, I trimmed them completely because clients, when clients see words like defeat, pain, cruelty, or death. I think it's a lot easier without the card titles, with clients, because clients tend to react to the title on the card. Nobody likes to see, how's this going to turn out? And you see failure pop up. It can be kind of off-putting. So anyway, back to the cards. And you got the Six of Wands, victory here. Lots of alchemical symbolism too, which is fun. Valor. See, aren't these beautiful cards? She just did such an extraordinary job on these. Eight of Wands, swiftness. I love the shoes and the wings of Mercury. And here you have the bows of Sagittarius. The arrows of Sagittarius. I kind of like the Ten of Wands of oppression. So here we see this big, heavy weight. Saturn oppressing the arrows of Sagittarius. Saturn has a tendency to do that. Then we move on to the aces, the cups. Root of the powers of waters. And Two of Cups, love. I like this card. Again, we have the two hippocampus. Two of Cups, love. Cancer, ruled by Venus. And here we have Three of Cups, abundance. Cancer, ruled by Mercury. And luxury, disappointment. So here we have from the Four of Cups, the water dries up. And we end up with just cracked earth, skeleton of the fish, Five of Cups. We're no longer thrilled by whatever it was that was making us happy. And, I think I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to go through the entire deck. I'll keep a few cards for a surprise for you. So that is the Tabula Mundi deck, which I think has become probably my top favorite deck, as I'm using this constantly all the time. And the more I use it, the more I love it. So if this, you've got a little view of it. So if this seems like a deck that you might resonate with or click with, definitely hop on over to tabulamundi.com and check it out. And I think that's it for this review. I hope you enjoyed a little walkthrough of the Tabula Mundi deck, and I'll talk to you next time. Brightest blessings.